So, good afternoon. I am Julie. I'm going to be hopefully trying to attempt to moderate our crew chat for today. We are on episode 11, looking at the email editor 2.0 and the audit trail. So just quickly, the housekeeping items. If you've missed any previous episodes, you can check them out on YouTube, also on the Marketo community. We always blog them after every episode as well, so make sure you keep an eye out. If there's any questions, tweet us on crew chats. Also, you can comment on the video if you're watching it live. Make sure you follow our Twitter handles, which are, I think, over here somewhere, if I've got it around the right way. I might have had it around the wrong way. Everyone's pointing.
It looks good on yours.
Does it? Oh, good. That's always good. So first off, we'll kick off with the speaker intros. So I'm Jules, Julie James, Assistant Professor of Marketing at St Edward's University. We have a favourite foreign word or saying that we're going to say today, and I'm going to try and pronounce mine if I get it correctly, which is Clanfire Porthgwyleth Clantosilio Gogogok, which is the longest train station name. Huh?
I said it took you 3 breaths to get through it.
I know, it's a long word. Joe, you're next.
My name is Joe Reitz. I'm a strategist at Fathom. I'm horribly out of practice, but I used to work with a Japanese company and spent a lot of time trying to learn Japanese. And my favorite phrase is "Shitsure shinakereba naranai desu," which basically means "please excuse me." Yeah. So Jeff.
All right, Jeff Krajewski, Marketing Automation Specialist for PR Newswire Decision Company. My favorite word is bachagaloop, favorite of my former Spanish teacher in high school, who used it endearingly. It actually means a doofus, halfwit, or loser.
Right on.
Favorite word.
So, Rachel?
Hi, I am Rachel Egan, and I do growth and marketing operations for TubeMogul, which will soon be Adobe within the next few weeks. We just got acquired, so that was exciting. My favorite phrase is in Spanish, and it's "Colorín colorado, este cuento se ha acabado." And it's basically said at the end of a fairy tale or a story or something like that, the same way that we say, and they all lived happily ever after.
Nice. Dory, I think Dory's got sound now.
Maybe. Can you guys hear
Yes.
me?
Yay!
What happened? Technology. Can't hack it. And I should also have an overlay. Yay. Okay, cool. Hey, guys. Dory Viscagliosi, Senior Marketing Operations and Automation. No, sorry. Senior Marketing Operations Manager at I'll never figure out my title.
Who knows what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I know what I do. My husband doesn't. So.
Don't worry, we'll make a montage.
My favorite, it's a word in Spanish. It's cacahuetes. It's just peanuts, but it's a fun word to say.
You know what he did? He kicked him right in the cacahuetes.
That's an excellent one. In my excitement to see that Dory was back online, I missed Andy. So, Andy?
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Hi, guys. I'm Andy. I'm the Conversion Marketing Manager at Biz Library. And my favorite phrase is, it's Korean. I'm going to butcher it, but it's Nanun Hangakmar Mateo, and it means I do not speak Korean. And it was just one time I'm part Korean, and when I was with a group of Koreans, they were like, "Oh my gosh," and they were speaking Korean to me, and I was like, "I don't know what you're saying." And so they taught me how to use that phrase to let everyone know I was not that cool.
That's cool. So for the past episodes, we have really deep dived into Lead Lifecycle, the Revenue Cycle Modeler, Attribution, loads of really great topics for tackling leads in your sales process, calculating revenue, providing marketing's worth, proving marketing's worth to the higher ups, because essentially that's what they want to see. They want to see what we're doing for them. It's been really good looking at all of those technical aspects. So today we're going to have a look back at some of the hotly anticipated features that came out in 2016, as we are nearly, quite scarily, to the end of the year. As champions, we have the privilege to hear about some of the latest developments that Marketo have in the pipeline. And we hear relatively early on. When a couple of the features that we're going to talk about today were first mentioned, everyone Everyone was excited. Everyone was talking about it. So now they've been released finally towards the end of the year. We're going to take a look at what they are and if they actually live up to our expectations. So without further ado, for this episode of Crew Chats, we're going to look at Email Editor 2.0 in the audit trail. So my first question, because I physically haven't seen this yet, I haven't managed to get access to it. What is Email Editor 2.0 and how is it different to the original editor? So I'm going to ask Joe this question because hopefully he's going to do a screen share.
Yeah, I will. You know, the biggest thing with Email Editor 2.0 is if you're familiar with Marketo landing pages and kind of how those work, you can turn sections on and off. Just much easier to work with, much more robust is the goal. That's basically what it is. So, and what you can also do with this email is a little more drag and drop functionality. So if you're coming from a system like MailChimp, it makes a little bit more sense. It's a little more user-friendly in theory. But let's take a look. Let me share my screen here. And we get to look at Dory like 9,000 times. It's like the best mate ever. Oh, now Jules. Okay. All right. So you guys see the Fathom sandbox right now?
Yes.
All right. So if you are wondering how to turn it on, go over to admin and then either here or over here where it says email. You'd simply go to up here at the top that says email editor settings. You want new. Go ahead if you want to look at the Marketo starter templates. Check this little Marketo starter templates box. It's pretty idiot proof. I did it, for example. And then now that it's turned on and you go to create a new email, what it looks like, I don't know, let's just do this. If I go to create a new local asset, it pops up instead of like the old dialog, it actually pulls up a whole new tab with like this really cool looking interface where you can actually get a preview. These are the starter templates. If I had any templates saved, which in the Fathom sandbox we have a couple kind of, you can kind of see a more thumbnailed preview of what the email looks like, which is a huge benefit compared to what the old process was. But to look at kind of the functionality of one of the newer templates, I'm just going to pick this one. You still have to do the typical stuff like give it a name. You can select open in an editor. And then you create it like you would expect. But then when you open it, you can do it. I believe.
We learned to love that circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So on that note, once you're in here, you have all your content blocks over here. You can, I forget how this goes. Do you have to be in the modules? Yeah. When you're in the modules, you can actually look at all the different spots. So like this call to action button, if I wanted to add one right underneath this block here, all I got to do is simply drag it over and drop it, which is kind of cool. Works really well. I don't know why it's being so slow right now. But yeah, and then you can lock up all the stylings. And when you're looking at the content, there's even, I don't know if there's some on this one where, so like I could change the colors of things. Like for the header, if I wanted to say, if I knew what my brand colors were, someone shout out a brand color. Nothing. All right, we're going with Stanley.
I don't know them off the top of my head anymore.
This is Stanley Security's old brand color. I still know it. And then you see in real time it changes over here. So these can be global level. They can be by widget base. So like you can get the sense real quick that if I don't know HTML, which a lot of people don't somehow in 2017, you're able to make quick changes like that and change the color of the background. So if I wanted this to be black and I wanted the text to be I don't know, blue, I could just do this. And you see how it's going to affect the CTA right here. And then I could also change the actual CTA. I'm sorry, that was the border. But you get what I'm saying. You can change the color and do whatever. It's fun. What else? Am I leaving anything out as far as the editor goes?
Are you able to go in and edit like the HTML of each of those things? So like if you wanted to edit like one of those blocks.
Yeah, so similar to, well, in images you can do images and video kind of like this, but you can also, like if it was an HTML block, like say this one here, it opens up a familiar interface and you can edit this and get in here, do whatever. It's still locked down how you would normally do a template in Marketo. Like you saw that it was just that one P tag and that's all we had access to because it's just a simple row. But yeah, I mean, that's the quick down and dirty. Oh shoot, where's my window? There it is. Yeah, that's the quick preview of what it looks like, which is really, really cool.
Cool. So why did we need a new editor? Anyone?
I'll go. The new editor is really about the mobility of our email templates, and the speciality of it, if you will, is that we need to be able to put forward a template and an email that works for both mobile and for both that and the desktop, because mobile is predominantly the way that people are consuming email.
So how is the new editor? How does it work with mobile responsiveness? Does it work? Have we tested it, or compared to the code from the old editor?
Yeah, it's been something that we've been rolling out. As we've done fresh implementations for some clients lately, we've been just starting with Email Editor 2.0 and using it as a starting point. And what we found is out of the box, it's weird because I know other Marketo champions like Greg. He posted a litmus test when the editor first came out, and there were some minor issues that got corrected. His litmus test looks fine. We did a litmus test actually as recent as last week and had an email that had kind of jacked up alignments. The colors came through like in some, granted it was like AOL and Yahoo for the email clients, but like alignments were off. The colors were like not even close to what we set them at. I don't even know how or why they got jacked up, but again, probably operator error. We set something in the template and we didn't, that overrode something and just messed it up. But what we've found overall is it's a great system. It takes a little bit of time and effort and thinking to kind of either take the existing Marketo templates that were provided and make sure that they're robust enough for any email client, or rework your existing templates so you can leverage that module system. Because the biggest thing that my dog is going nuts. The biggest thing that the new template, the new editor has is these things called variables, these things called those modules that you can drag and drop in. And the variables are elements that, when I was changing colors and things like that, it just makes it easier to do. So you never have to be looking at a very nasty roll up of HTML. It's all just what's the word, Jeff, when it's not neat and tidy and in line?
Messy.
Out of place.
It's a nerd word. I don't know. There's a technical word for it. I've been so long out of the design game, I can't remember.
Spaghetti code.
Yeah, it's like purple spaghetti. There you go.
Purple spaghetti, yay.
Yeah, that's the technical term.
Yeah.
Yeah, spaghetti. All right.
So, I mean, like Rachel asked, does it have the HTML option? I know Joe showed that you can do each module individually, but do we know if the whole, because I prefer editing my emails in code. I sometimes find it easier, but do you know if we can get the whole email in code? I know Joe's just disappeared, but has anyone else used Editor? Who else has got Editor 2.0 turned on?
Sure. So we've actually used Editor 2.0. We just switched it on a couple months ago. And in that time, what we've done is we actually haven't transferred templates or the base templates that Marketo has provided or others, but we have modified our own templates because we have designers that are adept to the mobile application. So we've compared and used that as far as litmus and other efforts to see how it translates. And in 2.0, the big benefit is that it allows you to see both the desktop and the mobile side by side.
Okay.
So that you can really, times there's images that have large widths. And because of that, they require a certain class provided on that particular image. And so in our case, for PR Newswire and Cision, that class at times isn't applied to those images. So in seeing the side by side, you can tell right off the bat that you need to go over and apply that to the mobile template.
Okay. So, so for those who haven't got 2.0, I mean, I think there's some of us have, some of us haven't. Can we just turn it on? Can we just turn on 2.0, or are there risks involved in actually doing that?
So the risk is basically.
Tango.
Hi, Tango.
Hi. Yes, you can turn it on. What I would be cautious about is basically when you update a template from 1.0 to 2.0, there ain't no going back. Whereas like if you clone stuff and like you create 2.0 versions of 1.0 emails, that's fine. But again, you still can't roll back to a version 1.0. So a thought out approach to either starting with new templates when you roll 2.0 out and only editing things as you move forward. Yeah, you just got to really think through like that limitation of like there are things about 2.0 that don't work with 1.0 that like things that don't exist, like modules don't exist in 1.0, so you can't use those templates if you do revert back. But yeah, that's it.
Well, that was going to be my question too, is like, we have all of these custom templates that we've built for 1.0 just because we've been using those. So I'm terrified of turning on 2.0 and then getting things messed up and having, like not being able to, edit the, hundreds of programs or emails and programs that we have like from, before 2.0.
So the editor itself is, whether it's on or off, it's kind of like a light switch. You can actually like turn it on, turn it off. And it's only going to, like if you have 2.0 templates, they're only going to work with editor 2.0. They're not going to work if you have turned off and gone back to the 1.0 editor. But you can essentially go ahead and turn it on and then turn it off again. But obviously you want to work, like Joe said, in a smart way and really be kind of conscious of whether you're editing emails or if you're creating new templates, like cloning and creating new emails. So, but most people do say that their current templates work just fine when they do the transfer over. The only thing you have to be aware of is that they have to have different, each section needs to have a different ID, I want to say it is. Joe, you could probably.
Well, I mean, and that part's not so different from the 1.0, right? Like,
you can have,
yeah, I think they all
with the same ID.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
So,
Unique IDs are an essential thing to any HTML template or HTML page. So
right,
unique IDs to each section is not a new concept.
but you could get away with it before on the templates, and now you can't.
So when you turn 2.0 on, does it take your 1.0 templates and turn them into modularized? That's not a word, but you know what I mean. The email template.
So by default, no.
Right. Okay.
Like it doesn't add. Well, it does something to your emails because you can't revert them back. But when you build out module, you can totally make sections of your existing email templates so that you can use the module system. But you need to add that in manually, and that's the bit that I'm saying. Like, usually takes a little bit of time and thought to like actually do that in a way that makes sense. Yeah, because like it's a really great system. I love the ability to drag and drop things in, and I can't tell you how many times I've built a series of email templates for a client, or even just myself when I was back on the light side of being on a brand, and you'd have an email template for like, let me have 4 subject matter areas, let me have one with like 2, and like this, like if you think of when you build landing pages now, you can turn sections on and off. You can do that with this. You can clone sections and add more. So like if you have a layout that's like here's a block of text with a image next to it, and you want to repeat that like 10 more times, rather than make a template that has all 10 of those content area blocks in it, you can just do it with this. But the thing with the modules is it's like there's a lot of more case sensitive stuff. Honestly, just check docs. Make sure you've got your your syntax, you're building it right. There's some updated documentation there that is going to be way easier for you to follow than us just trying to tell you what a bunch of documentation says.
Okay. Is there any recommendations for, because obviously trying to build these templates, if you're not a coder, that's going to be quite difficult. Is there any, I know NAC do their own templates. Is there any other sites that anyone's used to get some good 2.0 templates from, for anyone who's not a coder? Anyone?
Well, I think a lot of the Marketo native templates are, at least those are the ones that they're putting out there and saying, hey, these are the ones that we've worked on. So I'd be pretty comfortable using those, and obviously doing some litmus tests to ensure that, colors and everything else come across properly, like Joe was saying. But I think there's a pretty decent collection if you go through the Marketo templates that they've got.
Yeah.
And now one thing that the original release didn't work with, the original release of 2.0 did not work with API assets, and now it does. So for anyone who
got a good experience use case with that from your time at eMarketer, right?
Yeah, so the changeover or the availability with the API was actually either just before or just after I left. So I didn't play with 2.0 in that instance, but I've done a little bit of dabbling here and there. I've turned it off.
Cool. Okay.
I dabble and then I go back.
So is there anything anyone else wants to add about 2.0, or should we move on to Audit Trail?
About Audit Trail.
Yeah. So Audit Trail was another new thing that was released in 2016. I know I was really excited to see it. Again, I've not had access. That's why I'm asking all these questions today, because I want to know how it works. So, first question is, what is Audit Trail? Why do you think we as operations managers, as Marketo admin, as champions, power users, etc., why did we need it?
So Audit Trail.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, sure. So Audit Trail is really the ability that we've been asking for probably 3-4 years now, to be able to have a concise area and a place where we can see what our users are doing. Me personally, as an admin and power user of a team of 30 plus, I need to be able to really hone in on who's doing what. I have, not just in marketing, but I have sales power users and other people who are using Marketo and uploading lists and various other purposes, where I need to be able to hone in and rein in what is the specific need that this person has, and be able to tell what are the specific impacts that they are causing on the instance.
So it's a witch hunt feature.
I'm gonna jump in here and say the not so witch hunty side of things. There have been times, I'm sure that we've all done this, where you like make a change and you know that the reason that you made the change and you know why it was important and all of that stuff. But then, like, I know, like with my team, somebody will see that I did something, or that something changed from like 3 months ago, and they'll come to me and be like, well, or what happened here? And I can't for the life of me figure out what it was before I made that change. So theoretically, Audit Trail should help with that. So I should be able to go back, into changes that I made on a specific smart campaign and figure out what they were before versus what they are now. Unfortunately, I think that it's going to be a little while before they actually have those details in Audit Trail. So like if you go into Audit Trail right now and you click, like I'm looking at one of my activity details, and I modified a flow step in a smart campaign. I see like which smart campaign ID it is, but there's no details about what changed. And so I think that will be super helpful when we, when Marketo gets to that point with.
Okay, so obviously we don't want to use it just for finger pointing. We don't want the whole witch hunt. I mean, we've all run into the issues where something's happened, someone's changed something, and you spend 4 hours trying to figure out what the problem was. I think Audit Trail will help with that, but is it going to make any difference? Is it going to help us as Marketo users?
One thing that I find that I need, we'll have like, I don't know, in the background, these trigger programs that are running, and I inherited my instance so I can see where like my boss may have put something in the past that was good. And then I see where it's like right now affecting different records, and they're like, well, is that something that we necessarily need anymore? But I can see that I was the last person who modified it at the program level, but I can't see who originally created it, or maybe I can, I'm not sure. But that's where I would look at Audit Trail and see who originally put that in place and ask if this is something that we necessarily need anymore or can adjust.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one trick there, if I may mention, is when you have users that become whether they leave the company or they're dismissed from the company, don't delete them. The big trick is don't delete them, and just change the email address, change the login ID, and then reset the password. And one of the biggest tricks is to do so that you have that audit trail. You can see who did what to each asset.
Well, we also, now there's the capability, and I think this goes along with Audit Trail, to actually expire a user's access. So you can expire a login, so you don't actually necessarily have to do that password change any longer. But that's definitely another thing that's, I think it came as a part of the Audit Trail, was this new feature of expiring users. And I think that that's really critical for a lot of organizations. But in general, I do think that right now it's a lot of a witch hunting tool.
Okay.
I also, just really quickly, I know that we're getting down to it, but Jeff Canada spoke at one of our San Francisco mugs, and he was talking about how he has a spreadsheet, a Google Doc, that like his team logs every change that they make in Marketo. And he said that it keeps people accountable, and that if something changes, then who you can go to for that change. It does sound very like that would take a lot of time. We change things all day, every day in Marketo, obviously. But that would be helpful, right? But Audit Trail provides us a way that we don't have to actively log things. We know that the system's just doing it for us.
Okay. So last but one question is it, so that for those who've used it, is it easy to navigate and understand? Is it easy to go into a campaign and see what changes were made and where?
Do we just want to look at it real quick?
Can you? That'd be cool.
I got one.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yep. So this is what it looks like. To Rachel's point, like this isn't a whole heck of a lot of detail under the change details, and you can see on a lot of them like there's just nothing there. But as I make out the center of excellence in the Fathom sandbox that is becoming the Marketo food channel, you see like all these different things that I've done and like when I did it. I think if you were to go back historically, they turned Audit Trail on like September 26th or something weird like that. And that's where the historical data now starts for Audit Trail. So I think as far as I know, unless anyone else has heard different.
Okay.
But
That's correct.
Yeah.
So you get into it just by going into the admin?
Yeah. Maybe I should back up. So yeah, you're in admin, and then there's this like little security camera. Yeah. Again, if Marketo's listening and you want to make that like a little witch burning at a stake icon, that would be a fantastic April Fool's joke, and I'm just going to throw that out there.
That's a great idea, and I think you should create it in community.
Yeah. We'll all vote.
Greg or Josh has probably already made it an idea like that.
So
the only thing that I want to add there is that as far as admin is concerned, there's not a lot of admin activity that is logged within Audit Trail. So that's my one suggestion to Marketo.
Okay. So my last question was going to be, are there any improvements? But I guess, has anyone got any suggestions apart from Jeff's improvement?
Well, it's funny because Joe, I don't have any change details. Like when I go into all of mine, it just says coming soon. So I don't know if it's because Fathom is awesome and a Marketo partner and you guys are trying, have access to special things, but
I don't know. I can tell you that it's looked the same. I'm gonna have to go look through a bunch of clients now just to see, but like I think it's looked like that. I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't have change details.
Interesting.
Okay, so look at that, bang on time. Always nice. We were going to look at program tokens, but I think we're going to have to do that possibly in our last one of the year, just before Christmas. So that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks, guys, for participating. You've helped me a hell of a lot because, like I said, I've not seen either of these yet. So that was great. And see you in a couple of weeks for Secret Santas.
Have fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.